So the ABCs of Kratom are just what it does, where it came from, what's going on with it, and how I use it. So one thing that's really important with Kratom, first to do with using it, is it's banned by the FDA as being sold as a dietary supplement, which what a dietary supplement means is anything that a person is going to consume. So you cannot sell it legally for human consumption. You can get into real big trouble for it. However, you're completely allowed to sell it. It's completely legal to possess, and there's nothing wrong with telling people about how you consume it. And that's not telling them how to consume it. So it's not technically sold for human consumption that way. And King's Kratom is one of the only companies to make it really clear so that none of us come into any legal trouble. Your store will never get into any legal trouble selling it to people. And we won't as a manufacturer, so we can always continue to supply it to people correctly. So Kratom has a lot of different alkaloids in it. Some of the alkaloids are really strong opioids. So there's a difference between an opioid and an opiate. An opiate is something that comes from opium. It's opium derivative like morphine or codeine. And an opioid is an alkaloid that interacts with your opioid receptors. Kratom is an opioid, a very, very strong opioid. It's absolutely amazing how strong it is, and it doesn't cause respiratory depression and such. And it also contains some alkaloids that increase the amount of adrenaline that's present in your bloodstream and in your brain. So it wakes you up. It makes you feel alert and ready to go get things done. It also contains a lot of alkaloids that are just very healthy for you. They're anti-cancer and antioxidants, so it stops aging. So it's amazing that one plant contains all of that. So it feels good and it is good for you. And it helps you to get up and go and get things done and make this world great by producing more. So that's what's inside of the plant. Now, the FDA has, like I mentioned, has banned it from being sold for human consumption, which is really important to know as a retailer so that you never get into any legal trouble selling it. You can always tell people and have your employees tell them how they consume it or how you consume it. But it's marked right on the bottle. It's not technically intended for human consumption because of FDA laws, and we let the customer know really clear that it's just a technicality of why it says that, so we can continue to supply it. It's unbelievable the amount of oppression that Kratom has gotten for no reason. It's safer than peanut butter. That's my saying to do with Kratom. It's safer than peanut butter, literally. No one has ever died from Kratom use alone. Never once has there been one documented death. The FDA went and linked like 48 deaths to it, but what happened is these people had like 12 different drugs in them, high amounts of it, and they also had Kratom. They also could have said water did it. I mean, you know, no one's ever died from water consumption. No one's ever died from Kratom consumption alone. And so it's absolutely absurd that they linked it to it, but it is what it is, and it's they've also got it so all the banks won't process payments for Kratom. They're doing everything that they can to stop the sale of it. However, I'm not to beat on my own chest, but I'm really smart, and I'm a 4.0 student of biology and chemistry. I've owned my own business from the time I was 12, been put in a ton of papers, been on TV. Idaho State Senator asked me to teach the youth of Idaho how to start and run a business successfully. And so I'm really experienced in this, and I figured out a way to bypass all of the oppression that we're getting. And one of the key elements to it is putting it in smoke shops, because that way the customers can easily pay for it, and it makes it really simple. I mean, if they needed to, they could pay cash. And my goal as a company owner and an absolute lover of Kratom is to supply that to everyone and make it very affordable for them. So I go through a ton of Kratom. I consume really large amounts of it. I'll probably consume around 50 grams a day on super long days where I start working at 4 a.m. and work till 10 p.m. And so I want it to be affordable, because what makes drugs bad is if they have negative side effects or they're super expensive, then it's bad. There's nothing wrong with a drug itself. What a drug is defined as is something that makes you feel good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with feeling good, but if it's giving you potential negative side effects like death, or it's costing you all your money, then it's bad. So there's no negative side effects associated with Kratom. that are major side effects, and I mean, you can get nauseated if you consume way too much, but that's about it. I want to make it very affordable for people. So your store will be able to guarantee the best price. You can click on the 4 guarantees to get more information about that. But it's really important for people's lives, and that they have it, and that it's available to them readily, and it's affordable for them. And so together we get to do that. We get to increase your store's profits, your store's popularity, and that's the ABCs of Kratom.